adults only. We advocate for the repeal of marijuana prohibition for adults. We discuss the science, culture, and controversy about America's marijuana laws. We do not advocate or encourage any illegal activity and advise all listeners to learn their state and federal marijuana laws by visiting NORML.org, NORML.org. Opinions and claims made by guests and advertisers of NORML Show Live are their own and do not necessarily reflect the philosophy and policies of NORML. Listener discretion is advised.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it, and it goes down smooth. Hey!
Spanning the continent to bring you the truth about cannabis and marijuana law reform.
I smoke pot and I like it a lot.
From the promise of legalization.
And I think we need to think and decriminalize our marijuana laws.
To the agony of prohibition.
One major responsibility is to encourage people to use less drugs.
The National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws presents NORML Show Live, Marijuana Nation. Now, here's your host, NORML's Outreach Coordinator, Radical Russ Belville.
Good afternoon, tokers and tokets, and welcome. It is Tuesday, September 27th, 2011, and it's got to be 420 somewhere in the world. I am back from Joplin, Missouri, and Boise, Idaho. After 5 flights and 400 miles of road trip, we got plenty of stories to tell you. We represented big down there in Boise, Idaho, and we'll tell you all about that later on in the show. Great guests joining us on today's show to talk about Idaho's first ever Hemp Fest, which they called Hope Fest. Hemp offers people everything. Joining us on the show today in studio will be Sarah Frank from Moms for Marijuana International, Teresa Knox from Idaho Moms for Marijuana, Isaiah Valdez from Idaho NORML, and Lindsay Reinhart from Compassionate Idaho. The entire Idaho contingent is in the show today. Great time. Today is Todd Toker Topics. It is a Tuesday. Todd will be in here giving us more comedy today on employment and marijuana. Today, of course, is Electric Tuesday, so we've got some electric music for you, some dance music. This one's from Journeyman and Barcode, and it's called Criminal Minds, the unique 3 dubstep mix. But before we get to all of that, we always join the lovely and talented Cannabis Carrie out there in our virtual studio in beautiful Grass Story, Oregon. Hi, Carrie. How are you doing?
Hi, Russ. What a great weekend.
I know. It's good times having here, and we were down there with you in Boise. Did you have a good time while we were in Boise as much as I did?
Oh, I had a great time. That festival could have been 5 days, and I would have been thrilled. But one day was great. We had so much fun, and it was nice to meet up with you coming back from Joplin.
Oh, yeah. It was a lot of fun and great times had by all. A big thanks to our friends Marcy and Monty out there in Boise, Idaho, for putting us up and putting up with us. It was a good time. Carrie's got our hemp headlines right after this first break. So, Carrie, what's in the news today?
Well, today I've got a video story for you out of Houston, Texas, where some police got the munchies during an arrest. Also, we're going to go to Michigan, where they're drafting some new legislation. I think you might consider this one of those, are you sure we need this kind of laws? Also, we're going to go to New York City. That's our big story today, where they're changing their policies on arresting pot smokers. And also, if we have some time, we're going to talk a little bit about that online White House petition and how you can help.
Okay, we'll get to all of that right after our first break, and stay tuned. We got plenty of guests coming up, and in hour 2 we'll continue the discussion on the Idaho Hope Fest, and I'll tell you a little bit about what happened down there in Joplin, Missouri as well at the Cannabis Revival 2011 in Joplin. That was a good time as well. Plenty of videos up there on YouTube, and check out my Twitter feed for the twit pics that I sent up. We'll be putting more of those on the Picasa web just as soon as we can. Right back with the news after this. It's a full studio, and it's NORML Show Live.
This is NORML Show Live, the voice of the Marijuana Nation.
The law offices of Omar Figueroa would like to remind you to stand up for your rights. Please do not give up your precious liberties. There's nothing wrong with standing up for our constitutional rights, and in fact, it's the only way to honor the Constitution that gives us these precious rights. Treat law enforcement with respect and respect the Constitution by standing up for your rights. If you are detained or arrested, stand up for your rights by repeating, I respectfully invoke all of my legal and constitutional rights. I do not consent to any search or seizure. I want to remain silent, and I want to speak with my attorney, Omar Figueroa. Omar Figueroa has more than a decade of experience in federal and California courts and graduated from Yale University, Stanford Law School, and Trial Lawyers College. Please contact the law offices of Omar Figueroa at 415-489-0420 or 707-829-0215 or on the web at www.omarfigueroa.com.
You're listening to Normal Show Live, the voice of the marijuana nation.
Weedmaps.com. I'm Radical Russ from Normal. In my job as outreach coordinator, I travel every month, and when I'm on the road, I need a fast, accurate way to find the medical marijuana dispensaries in the area. So I turn to Weedmaps.com. Weedmaps.com has the best dispensary locator online or on your mobile device. Search by zip code or let Weedmaps find you, and in seconds you'll have the addresses, phone numbers, and customer service reviews for the medical marijuana dispensaries in the local area. Weedmaps.com also has a section devoted to helping you find a doctor who understands and recommends medical marijuana under your state's law. You can even check prices on the Medical Marijuana Stock Exchange. Coming soon, you'll even be able to find the listings of normal attorneys and chapters, local head shops and grow shops, and the best weed-friendly businesses. Weedmaps.com has the information you need to be an informed cannabis consumer. Visit Weedmaps.com today, a proud sponsor of the Normal Network.
Inhaling deeply of the sacred smoke.
Medical marijuana, industrial hemp, consumer cannabis. It's time for this week's Normal News with Cannabis Carrie.
We have been reporting for years on the ironic nature of one of the nation's first major cities to criminalize measures when it comes to cannabis, but also has the highest arrest record for cannabis. New York City is the marijuana arrest capital of the world, even though they decriminalized possession of up to 25 grams of marijuana all the way back in 1977. You could possess marijuana with impunity as long as it wasn't burning or in public view. Over the years, as the arrest record for marijuana in New York City kept climbing, activists began keeping the data and noticing that it was just Black and Latina men who were mostly being arrested at an unreasonable rate. The loophole in the marijuana policies in New York City is that when an officer asks you to empty your pockets and you pull out marijuana, it's now an arrestable offense since it is in public view. But even though marijuana use rates are similar between the ethnic groups, 86% of those arrested for misdemeanor possession over the last few years were Black or Latino. And the arrest rate continued to skyrocket in the Big Apple. The Drug Policy Alliance points out that, in fact, more people were arrested last year in New York City on charges of marijuana possession than during the entire 19-year period from 1978 to 1996. Last year, in 2010, it marked the 6th year in a row that marijuana possession arrests increased. So 50,383 people were arrested in 2010 for possession, according to the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services. Now, that adds up to an average of 140 extra arrests a day, the leading reason to be arrested in New York City. Since Mayor Michael Bloomberg took office in 2002, there have been over 350,000 arrests for marijuana possession in the city. 70% of those arrested were under 30, and again, 86% of those arrested are Black or Latino. Now, whites make up 73.4% of New York City's population and are statistically shown to use marijuana at higher rates. A charge by some advocates that the New York Police Department has been quietly making marijuana arrests their top priority without public acknowledgement or debate. But on Friday, Police Commissioner Ray Kelly wrote an internal order that there should be an end to this loophole that has resulted in the record high marijuana bust and have cost the taxpayers over $75 million every single year. Kelly wrote, quote, "Questions have been raised about the processing of certain marijuana arrest. At issue is whether the circumstances under which uniformed members of the service recover small amounts of marijuana from subjects in a public place support the charge of criminal possession of marijuana in the 5th degree." Now, also in that order, Kelly wrote, quote, A crime will not be charged to an individual who is requested or compelled to engage in the behavior that results in the public display of marijuana. Civil rights activists have been calling the practice of police telling people to empty their pockets and cooperate as coercion, extortion, and a Fifth Amendment violation. But now Commissioner Kelly will call it simply improper. The change comes on the heels of several protests over the practice and a few unflattering pieces about Mayor Bloomberg in the New York Times over the racial implications of that practice.
Yeah, this is fantastic news that we're getting from the police commissioner. And it's a sterling example of how our activism can really make a difference in people's lives. Kudos to Harry Levine, Dr. Harry Levine out there at Queens College, who's been, at the forefront of this, putting out these statistics showing the racial disproportionate nature of the arrests in New York City. The New York City Civil Liberties Union that was pointing out how it was, this unconstitutional practice of forcing people to take stuff out of their pockets in order to get them to commit the crime that allows you to arrest them. For so long, this has just been a way for the New York Police Department to get people into the system, to go through poor neighborhoods and try to get the fingerprints, get the records, get these people booked so that the next time they catch them, it makes things a little bit easier for them. We could no longer use these marijuana laws as a way of just rounding up young Black and Latino men to try to figure out who's who in the hood there to sort them out. This is costing New York taxpayers far too much money, and it's ruining far too many people's lives. So kudos again to the Ray Kelly there of the New York Police Department for making that solid change.
2 Houston police officers are being accused of knowingly eating a suspect's marijuana brownies during an arrest. A young 19-year-old man was arrested by 3 officers who all took part in eating the brownies. Nicholas Hill was charged with marijuana possession of about 10 grams of marijuana when the police broke up a small party he was at in an apartment building back in May. The cops who are under investigation now will be drug tested, although unless they ate more brownies since then, the drug test should come back clean. And then there is the problem of a 19-year-old marijuana user's word against 3 police officers. But lucky for the young man, the police may have implicated themselves, typing messages to each other in their in-car computers after eating the confiscated baked goods. We have the video story from the ABC affiliate in Houston.
Tonight, 3 Houston police officers are under investigation after claims they got high while on duty. And the claim, made by a man accused of drug possession, are backed up with something undeniable: the words of the officers themselves. And folks at Oberg.
It so jumps off the page.
So high, spaced H-I-G-H.
The words of a Houston police officer about an hour after arresting Nicholas Hill for marijuana possession.
It was actually about 10 or 11.
Hill was at his Atascocita apartment with friends late one night in May when cops came after someone smelled drugs. On a search of the apartment, they allegedly found pot and stumbled on some brownies.
The other cop came into the bedroom with a tray of brownies and immediately, I guess, assumed that there was pot or something in it by asking, "Let me guess what's in this."
These were not the kind of brownies your mom made. And Nicholas tells us and told his lawyers, the cops ate them.
Sometimes you're told some pretty tall tales.
But Daniel Cahill and J. Julio Vega, Nicholas's lawyers, started investigating. If it were just the word of a 19-year-old accused of drug possession against the integrity of 3 Houston police officers, there wouldn't be much for lawyers to defend or us to report. But it's not just his word. After allegedly eating the pot brownies and arresting Daniel and 2 others, the officers went downstairs to their patrol cars and started typing on their in-car computers. The city saves all those messages, and we have them. At 2:44 in the morning, one officer, we aren't naming them, writes the other, "So high. Good munchies." The other writes back, "Everything should be open when we get done." First officer, 2 hours max. Probably, but it'll take the whole shift.
If they actually are true, then what we're talking about is destruction of evidence. That's a felony. What we're talking about is official misconduct. We're potentially talking about police officers driving around the city of Houston, high on drugs, conducting official police business while high on drugs. It's a pretty big deal.
The head of HPD's Internal Affairs Division knew about this before we called and told us it's considered a big deal inside the department. The officers involved are still on the job, but will be drug tested and investigated. Who knows what'll show up 4 months after the fact, but Executive Assistant Chief Mike Durden admits incidents like this can put the integrity of the department at risk.
Obviously, I guess they thought we were oblivious to it.
As for the drug possession case against the young man, it still stands for now. The DA's office tells us they're waiting for results of the internal affairs investigation before they do anything. Ted Oberg, 13 Eyewitness News.
Yeah, we are talking about some serious felonies here that are being committed by these police officers. And I love how the segment says, one 19-year-old man's word against the integrity of 3 police officers. Well, we can see what kind of integrity these police officers have. And this is not an odd case. This is not, just a 1 in a million case. We see this all the time. It's called testifying. We see cops all the time getting on the stand and telling outright lies. And again, they use that, it's the integrity of the police officer, your word against theirs. And they know that. And they use that against us in order to get us convicted and thrown into jail cells. I hope they throw the book at these guys. But, I don't really have my hopes up too much because I know how these cases tend to go. There's a plea here and a deal there, and somebody knows a judge, and the next thing you know, these guys are getting paid administrative leave or something like that. We're going to keep our eyes on this story and make sure that these guys get the punishment that they really deserve.
And we could probably put this in the "is it really a problem" file, but Michigan State Senators Rick Jones and Tanya Schoonmaker announced today that they are drafting legislation to require a 1-year residency in the state of Michigan before you can obtain a Michigan medical marijuana card. The Michigan State Police have reported that out-of-state people are renting homes in Michigan, using their rental receipts to get a Michigan driver's license, and then getting their Michigan medical marijuana card. Now, that sounds fairly innocuous, but then, according to the Michigan State Police, they start growing operations in those rental homes and return to the border state where they really live, only coming back once or twice a week to tend their gardens and insulate themselves from arrest of manufacturing of drugs. An explanation of why this new legislation is needed from Senator Tanya Schoonmaker's office said that a typical example would be people from Illinois scamming the Michigan medical marijuana program in this manner to sell Michigan weed in Chicago. Senator Rick Jones echoes her sentiment, adding, quote, "Agriculture is the rising star of Michigan, but this is not the type of farmer we need. People growing marijuana for sale as dope in Chicago can present a danger to Michigan residents." Their legislation will declare that its intended mission is to stop out-of-state marijuana growers.
Well, okay. Here's the situation, though, is that, Michigan, first of all, doesn't have or has no residency requirement as far as its cards. You can get a card from any state. And it will be good in the state of Michigan. They have reciprocity. So, if they require this 1-year residency for these people in Illinois, then all they need to do is go to another one of the medical marijuana states, get a card there that doesn't have a residency requirement, like here in Oregon, and then go back and do what you're doing already. But the real problem here that they're trying to solve is in that one line that you just heard, where they said they'd be growing medicine in Michigan and selling it as dope in Chicago. How did it become dope when it went over a state line? How did it change from being something that's useful for a medical patient in Michigan to being a terribly deadly, dangerous drug in Chicago? And furthermore, how do we know that the person buying it in Chicago isn't buying it for medical purposes themselves, but they just happen to be unlucky in geography and live in a place that criminalizes them for making the choice of whether they should be criminals or whether they should be sick? This is just disgusting. 1-year residency requirement, huh? Well, they're going to continue to make these kind of changes in the laws so long as marijuana remains illegal for healthy people.
The White House recently unveiled a new webpage called We the People, through which average Americans can start and distribute legislation-minded petitions. The White House, who announced ahead of the site that the Constitution guarantees you the right to petition your government, says that it is a way to get an official response on a range of issues. Now that site has been up less than 2 weeks, 3 of the 8 most popular We the People online petition call for the legalization of marijuana. Over 39,000 people have signed the online petition to legalize marijuana and regulate it like alcohol. The second most popular petition was to abolish the TSA. That had over 22,000 as of this morning. Also on the list was to allow industrial hemp, with almost 13,000 votes, and another that simply says legalize, regulate, and tax marijuana. That has over 11,000 votes. In 2008, President Obama said he was going to take a hands-off approach to medical marijuana in those states that have made it legal, but then the Justice Department has cracked down on dispensaries since then. Obama has avoided marijuana-related questions at more than one town hall meeting and has given a quick answer to dismiss the discussion. What will the White House do with these online petitions? We hope that he will address them first and foremost. But on the White House website, it says this about the new tool. The right to petition your government is guaranteed by the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. We the People provides a new way to petition the Obama administration to take action on a range of important issues facing our country. We created We the People because we want to hear from you. If a petition gets enough support, White House and staff will review it, ensure it's sent to the appropriate policy experts, and issue an official response. So, Obama administration, we're waiting to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, we sure are. For the, seventh time, eighth time, we've topped the list once again. We'll see what kind of dismissive response we get this time. We're back right after this.
It's 20 after the hour, and we have to take a short break, if you know what I mean. Please support these sponsors who support Normal Show Live.
Oh, have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. Have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. If he said he swam to China, he would sell you South Carolina. Then you know you're talking to that reefer man.
The High Times Medical Cannabis Cup is coming to Detroit on October 15th and 16th. That's right. The world's premier medical marijuana competition will be in Motown to celebrate the cannabis economy of the Great Lakes State. It's a two-day expo at Burt's Warehouse Theater, showcasing the movers and shakers of the Michigan medical marijuana industry and the merchandise that makes the machine go. There will be seminars with leaders of the medical marijuana movement, doctors, patients, researchers, growers, dispensary owners, and activists. Plus, High Times' own cultivation editors Danny Danko and Nico Escondido will roll into town with the goods on growing great ganja. Be there for an amazing Saturday night VIP party featuring top musical performances and special guests. High Times will award the Medical Cannabis Cup for top indicas, sativas, hybrids, concentrates, and edibles, entered by Michigan's dispensaries and collectives. Come to Burt's Warehouse Theater on October 15 and 16. Visit medcancup.com for all the details. Celebrate cannabis in Michigan. Celebrate the resurgence of Detroit. Be part of the growing cannabis community.
Georgia. Hi, this is Willie Nelson, and I need your help. Alcohol prohibition didn't work in the 20s, and marijuana prohibition isn't working today. It's time we stop arresting law-abiding citizens because they prefer marijuana over alcohol. Nearly 2,000 Americans are arrested every day on marijuana charges. We're unfairly destroying the lives and careers of hundreds of thousands of people each year simply because they smoke marijuana. These are not criminals. They're average citizens like you, good neighbors who work hard, raise families, pay taxes, and contribute to their communities. We need your help to end marijuana prohibition once and for all. It's the fair thing to do.
For more information, contact NORML, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. Call toll-free 888-67-NORML or visit their website at norml.org.
Compared to a planet, you're all just a bunch of specks. But we love you all anyway. Mums.
This is tremendous mass waves all over in space.
In today's busy world, we're inundated by advertising for all types of pharmaceuticals that come with a laundry list of potential side effects. Shouldn't you have better medical choices? Natural alternatives to pills pushed by Big Pharma? At Alternative Medical Choices, you could choose natural, safe, and effective alternative therapies that are right for your budget without nasty side effects. Cannabis, or marijuana, has been a legal medicine in the Pacific Northwest since 1998. Our doctors will help determine your qualifications for a medical marijuana recommendation in Oregon, no matter where you live. Our massage therapists will ease your aches and stress with soothing hemp seed oil or cannabis-infused massage salves. We also offer acupuncture, Reiki, and other alternative health therapies. Call Alternative Medical Choices in Portland, Oregon at 503-288-5579 or visit our website at www.altmedchoices.com. We specialize in out-of-state recommendations. That's www.altmedchoices.com or call 503-288-5579.
It's time for your daily Toker Tunes, the best in 420 friendly music from all genres that uplifts, entertains, and informs the public. Today we bring you tunes for Electric Tuesday, our segment featuring the best of modern electric music in the genres of dance, new age, house, and experimental. If you'd like to submit your song to be played on Normal Show Live, send it to us at stash@normal.org. Now here's some more great independent marijuana music for today's Daily Toker Tunes.
All right, welcome back, everyone. As you know, Cannabis Cure UK is our usual Electric Tuesday editor, but he is back out on the road doing his walkabout in the United States of America, so good for him. I get the chance to bring up your Electric Tuesday music today, and today we go to the IOTA promo net for this next one. A duo called Journeyman and Barcode. The Mutate crew gate-crash your earlobes uninvited, armed with a blistering release from Breakbeat's rowdy relatives, Journeyman and Barcode. Basically, one well-constructed set of driving beats lavishly furnished with seriously large dramatic synth stab. Check them out on the IOTA promo net. It's Criminal Minds, the Unique Threes laptop mix.
for your iPod? Check out the Daily Toker Tunes at the Stash blog by surfing to stash.normal.org and choosing Media, and then Toker Tunes from the main menu.
Starfish Designs, makers of the original Gandalf.
I'm Radical Russ, and when I want to relax, I always have my 17-inch long original Gandalf from Starfish Designs nearby. The hand-blown borosilicate glass is strong and easy to clean, and the design is sleek and sophisticated. Starfish Designs are available from Bend, Oregon at a glass retailer near you. For locations, call 541-788-GLASS. That's 541-788-4527.
I'm a doctor.
I'm a lawyer.
I'm a journalist.
I'm a student.
I'm a teacher.
I'm a representative.
I have cancer.
The outdated laws of prohibition are more dangerous than the plant itself. I lost my scholarship.
I was fired.
20 million arrests since 1965. This is getting ridiculous.
Our prisons are overcrowded with non-violent offenders.
We have the opportunity to change.
This is costing our country billions of dollars.
Making my family and I fight in a courtroom is difficult enough when I'm already fighting through chemotherapy.
There's no reason to be scared by tradition anymore. We can stop this.
We can stop this.
We are the American people.
We can stop this.
And you have our support.
We're old,
young,
straight, gay. We're every race and nationality.
And we're not going to give up.
You can tax it.
You can regulate it.
Apply age restrictions.
You can create millions of new jobs.
We can save our economy.
President Obama?
It's time for legalization.
Legalization.
Yes.
We
can.
Come and see the violence inherent in the system. Help! Help! I'm being repressed.
Marijuana and alcohol are the two most popular recreational drugs in America. Marijuana smoking is non-toxic, relatively safe, and has a low risk of dependence. Alcohol drinking is potentially fatal, dangerous to society, and is quite addictive. Marijuana is safer, so why are we driving people to drink? That's the question of the new book, Marijuana is Safer, So Why Are We Driving People to Drink? By Paul Armentano, Mason Tvert, and Steve Fox. Visit Amazon.com or ChelseaGreen.com today to order your copy of Marijuana is Safer, or visit MarijuanaIsSafer.com. Here at Normal Show Live, we spend all week taking a serious look at the tragedy of American marijuana prohibition. But it is important to take a break and remember that we are a vibrant, diverse, and oftentimes hilarious community of people. So on Tuesdays, our friend, comedian Todd Armstrong, or Goob the Knob on Facebook and Twitter, joins us to expose the lighter side of lighting up with Todd's Toker Topics. All right, welcome back, everybody. We are joined by Todd Armstrong here in the studio. Welcome back, Todd.
Hello, how's it going? How's it going?
Oh, it's going really well. Got to get your mic level up here a bit, but we'll get that.
No worries.
So we're going to get right into it. So every Tuesday we bring you out here for a look at the cannabis community with a skewed view, if you will.
Yes.
A comedian's eye, if you will. And today we've got a topic that's going to be near and dear to many people's hearts out there. Tell them all about it.
It's about employment this week. And I know this is a big issue when it comes to the stoners out there in the world, because it is our secret taboo, and we need to talk about it because we have that ultimate fear of all potheads is the piss test anxiety at work. Getting hurt, something happening, you showing up late and just having to pee. And where are libertarians at demanding us to stop having to pee and bleed and to spit into little cups everywhere and save this country? But I guess that's a side issue. But let's focus on this. Everybody needs a job to buy the weed they also love. We need these things. So I'm going to talk about two different things, and I want people to get past the cliche jobs they have as potheads. And these are the shop jobs, the grow shop, the head shop, the bike shop, the sub shop, the surf shop. Yes, we know that you can work at these places, but there's more to retail. The secret jobs of stoners. The roofers out there. It's fucking hot. You have to be stoned to be up there. Gardeners. It's boring as shit. No one wants to call you Mexican all day long, even when you're white. You have to be high to deal with that. We have glass blowers, the artist of our communities. And, of course, comics, the laziest of us all that just want to tell dick jokes and talk about pot all the time. But we also want to focus on the community of people. We have all of our restaurateurs are potheads. Stop piss testing these people. They need jobs and let them advance. They are our artist of food. Food carts wouldn't exist without weed. No one was high enough to even start that culture to call them roach coaches to begin with and eat things that know is going to give them some kind of intestinal tract issue. We need pot to deal with these things. But more importantly, stoners are great employees and great employers because we love our work. We produce great products at a fair price because we enjoy what we do. But a note to the stoners out there that make jobs harder to get for all of us, there's a few rules you have to do. When you go to get that job that you need to have, go high. So they know exactly what kind of employee they're getting. And they already know how closed your eyes are to start with, so they're not asking stupid questions about allergies and how do you feel today. Secondly, iron your clothes, shower that morning, and shave, men and women both. 2 rules that you have to apply to all potheads, especially when it comes to employment. Under no exception are you ever allowed, male or female, to have a ponytail at a job interview. And 2, and most importantly, no flip-flops. Please stop wearing flip-flops. You get kicked out the door right after the get-go. But to the employers of the world, give us smoke breaks, not piss tests. Save money on drug tests, and let us raise money for American-owned businesses and retail, agriculture, and the social sectors by legalizing cannabis. Now, the reason we brought up this issue today is because I'm very distraught about the fact that all my friends come up and asking me, how long does it take to get out of my system? Because they're applying for a job. It's hard enough to get a job where the real unemployment rate's around 20% right now. The only thing that's ever good at 20% is the THC level in the weed you should let us smoke. Please use your minds, open up your hearts, and if you see a posting on Craigslist that says this is a drug-free establishment, email them and tell them they missed out on a great employee and a great opportunity and change the mindsets of the nation. I'm Todd Armstrong. I'll see you next Tuesday. Thank you so much.
So, thank you so much, Todd. That was fantastic. Todd's Toker Topics every Tuesday, and of course, Todd is performing stand-up all over this area. So what's your next gigs, man?
I'll be at Harvey's Comedy Club all week, starting, Thursday through Sunday.
Harvey's Comedy Club and Goob the Knob on Twitter and Facebook to get up all the latest updates. Thanks so much, Todd Armstrong, for being with us. When we come back, we are going to have Moms for Marijuana, Idaho Normal, Compassionate Idaho, everything about the gem state you ever wanted to know, but we're afraid to ask. Stay tuned. It's Normal Show Live.
We're more than just methamphetamine trailers.
It's tough talking to kids about marijuana, especially if you might be a parent who dabbled a time or two in your youth. So to help you out, get your copy of Dr. Mitch Earlywine's latest book, A Parent's Guide to Marijuana. Dr. Earlywine is an associate professor of psychology at the State University of New York at Albany and an expert on the studies concerning marijuana, its effect on health and society, and the methodology behind the statistics. He is a frequent guest here on our daily audio stash. Dr. Earlywine lays it all out without the propaganda and scare tactics that parents know won't work with teenagers. He presents a rational understanding of cannabis, what it is and what it isn't, and why kids shouldn't be using marijuana. You can order today through Amazon.com or check our links at our blog, stash.normal.org.
Michael Phelps, Olympic superstar, 14 gold medals, world record holder. So much for that amotivational syndrome.
Hey, is it 420 yet? This is Rick Cusick from High Times Magazine, and you're tuned into Normal's Audio Stash.
Cannabis, pot, hemp.
Just say no.
No matter what you call it, it's a huge part of popular culture.
Where'd you learn that, Cheech?
Drug school.
You don't need weed school. You just need a copy of the new book, Pot Culture, the A to Z Guide to Stoner Language and Life.
Hey, this is great, man.
Even if you never smoked marijuana.
I never used marijuana. Sorry.
Don't think you smoked marijuana.
I experimented with marijuana a time or two and didn't inhale.
Or you used to smoke marijuana.
I inhaled frequently. That was the point.
Pot Culture by former High Times editor Steve Bloom and Shirley Halperin will answer every question you ever had about marijuana culture.
Has that marijuana made it back up here yet?
Check out Pot Culture, the A to Z Guide to Stoner Language and Life at Amazon.com or visit potculturebook.com today.
Too bad, man. I just stopped smoking yesterday.
All right, everybody, we're working on getting all of our Idaho guests on the line, so stay tuned while we work that out on Skype. In the meantime, enjoy this 10-foot ganja plant with Top Down.
The morning sun is rising, lighting up the sky. Autumn leaves changing color. What a lovely way to die. Frost upon my window, chill upon my bones, slows it down with age, they say. So I make this day my own, my own. I'm gonna put the top down. I'm gonna talk about old times. I'm gonna put the top down. I'm gonna let myself unwind. I'm gonna put the top down. I'm gonna watch the day roll by. I'm gonna put the top down. This time. Every day I'm working to keep my humble home. And the one who left my heart broken. Sometimes I still feel alone, but I've got to keep on moving, yeah. Pay the rent on time. Happiness is my decision, yeah. So I'm making this day mine, oh mine. I'm gonna put the top down. I'm gonna talk about old times. I'm gonna put the top down. I'm gonna let myself unwind. I'm gonna put the top down. I'm gonna watch the day roll by. I'm gonna put the top down.
Normal, unlike any other marijuana or drug reform organization, is built from the ground up by grassroots activists. We are the Marijuana Smokers Lobby, and we aren't just anti-prohibition, we're pro-marijuana. Every week, we take some time to talk to the citizens of local normal chapters across the country and around the world, as well as others who are working to make a difference in the fight to end adult marijuana prohibition. In this segment we call Grassroots Activism.
All right, everyone, thanks for waiting for us. We had to get everyone on the line because we have 4 guests joining us here today representing all aspects of marijuana law reform in Idaho and internationally. We're going to start on the international scene with the founder of Moms for Marijuana. It's Sarah Frank, who's in the studio here with us. Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
Yeah?
A little tired.
A little tired. We worked pretty hard there at that festival, didn't we?
Yes.
We'll talk all about that. Also joining us via Skype, we have Teresa Knox from Idaho Moms for Marijuana. Teresa, can you hear me okay?
I can. Thanks for having me, Russ.
Oh, excellent. Isaiah Valdez is here he's the executive director of Idaho NORML. Isaiah, welcome.
Thanks for having us on the show, Russ.
Oh, thank you. And finally, Lindsay Reinhart, co-chief petitioner, I understand, with Compassionate Idaho. Is that correct, Lindsay?
I'm the chief petitioner with Compassionate Idaho. Thank you for having me.
You're doing it all yourself.
No, it's a group thing, but it's listed as me as the chief petitioner.
Well, that's kudos to you, man. That's excellent that you're doing that. All right, let's start in talking about this Idaho Hope Festival that just took place in Boise, Idaho on Sunday. We just got back from it and drove all across the state Monday to get here to talk about it here on the show. And Sarah, tell us about how the idea for this came about. Who was primary in getting this going and starting the planning, and how long has it taken to plan this?
Well, I would say it's been about 3 years since we first started talking about it. We started talking about the need for reform in Idaho and the need for medical in Idaho, the extreme need.
Yeah.
And I met a gentleman named Tom Hayes who was with mehemp.org, and he introduced me to Isaiah Valdez. And we started the Southern Idaho Cannabis Coalition and started having meetings, monthly meetings. Our first meeting, we had about 10 people show up. It was pretty good. But then our next meeting, we only had 3.
Oh, no.
The 3 of us.
the people throwing the meeting.
Tom and Izzy and me.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the next month, it was, again, the 3 of us. And then my fiance, Dan, and started to come, and then there'd be 4 of us, and there'd be 5 of us, and then soon there were 6 and 7, and we met people all over from Kuna to Boise to Mountain Home to McCall to, Caldwell, the whole Treasure Valley.
Yeah.
And we started talking about the Hemp Fest in Moscow and how we wanted to know how they got theirs going, and so we decided to take a trip up there, and we met with Arlene Falcon, who has been running the Moscow Hemp Fest since 2006, and she's been working really hard up there. And she introduced us to Steve Funn from the Seattle Hemp Fest.
Right.
And then we got to go over there, and we just started meeting everybody and learning how everything was working, and and there it is. Kind of blew up.
Well, let me turn to Isaiah on the Skype line there. Isaiah, when you were putting this all together, it's probably taken a while to put this together. What sort of difficulties did you run into? Did you get any opposition from police or lawmakers or city officials?
Well, for the most part, Boise City Council, like all the members on the council, were really nice and very, they weren't putting up their hands for our cause. They were very nice to us. They're, very informational. Any questions we had, they would answer. Everything was going well once we started doing this, and then as we got closer to the date, then Boise Police Department started to have, little issues about, that we're a pot fest, so therefore there's going to be illegal drugs, and we're going to be people smoking up throughout the whole place, and it's just going to be illegal activity, so we need to have we need to have officers there at all times. We need to have canine units sniffing, They thought we were just going to throw this event just so that people can get high.
Uh-huh.
So that was, the big issue that we ran into was cops thinking, or Boise police thinking that there's going to be a lot of drug usage at our festival, which, turns out there was none of that.
Yeah, well, when I got there and I gave my speech at 420, I kind of remarked how I saw as many Boise police at this little event, which I don't know, you guys may have had 500 people or so. I saw as many Boise police there as I see all of Seattle Hemp Fest, where there's 150, 200,000 people. And speaking of encounters with police, I want to turn to Teresa here, Teresa Knox from Idaho Moms for Marijuana. Can you tell us a little bit about encounters with police at the festival?
Yes. Actually, my encounter with the police came before I even made it to the festival. I left my house, and there were 3 cops taking up my house. They had found an old court fine and obtained a bench warrant and arrested me. I never even got to the festival until about 3 o'clock.
Wow. So they were. Do you think they were like targeting you here? They were, trying to take down the festival somehow?
I absolutely do. Previous to that, they had threatened to shut down the Hope Festival and require that we double our police, or employed police force at the festival because of the fact that I have held public rallies in downtown Boise where we publicly smoke pot to prove to people that we're not actually hurting anybody when we do this. And they took that and a quote that I had made encouraging civil disobedience outside the confines of our event and used that as, probable cause to try and threaten to close down the Hemp Fest, which thankfully Lindsay had already taken care of the paperwork on that, and that wasn't an issue. They couldn't shut it down. So, yes, that was them trying to throw a monkey wrench in it as best they could, and frankly, it failed utterly.
Yeah, I would say that what the Boise Police Department succeeded in doing is tempering by fire a brand new activist in the state of Idaho, because you came out on stage. Yeah, audience is agreeing. You came out on stage there and lit it up and gave one of the best speeches I've ever heard, or at least the people are telling me it's one of the best speeches there. I didn't get the chance to check it out. Sarah, can you second that for me as far as Teresa's transformation because of this event?
Yes, definitely. She just bloomed right there in front of everybody. And it was because of what happened to her. It was a very traumatic thing, and we don't want that to continue to happen to people, and that is how we find these activists.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be happening to people.
Right. We shouldn't have to have people being harassed for this to become, how they get involved in activism. And I want to turn now to Lindsay Reinhardt from Compassionate Idaho, working to get a medical marijuana law passed there, an initiative on the ballot and a law passed to protect people like yourself, Lindsay. How was the festival for you, and what do you want to tell people about medical marijuana in Idaho?
The festival for me was amazing. We wound up getting a whole new Twin Falls team. We had over 500 signatures. We're still counting petitions. And we registered 300 people to vote. I was told towards the end of the festival by the Boise Police Department that we did a good job. They were impressed how peaceful the crowd was and how clean the park was. And they gave us flack at the beginning, but for the festival, I found it to be amazing. I was really happy with how things worked out for us, and changing the laws here to protect is so important to me and to everyone in this group. We need to protect patients. I am not a criminal, and if you ask the Boise Police Department, they might disagree, but I'm not a criminal, and to protect myself and other patients, getting medical marijuana legalized in Idaho is the most important aspect of this to me.
Let's get some help for you on that. How can people help if they want to donate to the cause for Compassionate Idaho, or help sign the petition, or be a petition gatherer, or any of those kind of things? If they want to help, who do they contact?
They can contact me or anybody else on this show right now. The Compassionate Idaho website is compassionateidaho.webs.com. We have a donate button where people can donate to help the cause in Idaho. We also are on Facebook under Compassionate Idaho and the Idaho Medical Choice Act, which is the name of the petition. Anybody can message me on Facebook. They can call me. My number is 208-703-9156. Anything that can help us, anything to help get more signatures. Everything's printable on the website. People can read and print the petition and the instructions, as well as their registration cards. And any way that they want to get a hold of us, if they go to those pages, we can get in contact with them. Or any other way. I mean, we're very available to everybody.
Now, Isaiah Valdez with Idaho NORML, you were doing a lot of the work there, putting this event together, and of course would have to interface with the law enforcement while they were there. What reports did you get back from law enforcement? Did we have any arrests or seizures or major problems?
No, there were actually no arrests made. They said that the festival was very easygoing. I think for the most part, they didn't have any citations for pot or any major arrests at all. I think they had more citations for open containers than they did for even cannabis possession. It was really well. I talked to the police officer, one of the officers out toward the end of the event, and he told me that everything was going well. There was no big issues, and he was telling me that maybe next year when we decide to run this, we can definitely do it a lot better. And so that I was thinking next year. Oh, well, he's already talking about next year. Then that makes me feel a lot better knowing that he knows we're going to run it next year, and he's already telling me about next year and how it wouldn't be that much of a problem next year.
They're expecting it. That's fantastic. That shows the level of dedication they're seeing from all the volunteers and the professionalism that you guys used in putting this on. We're going to switch to Cannabis Carrie here for a second, so rather than her typing at me, she can tell me what she has on her mind here. As far as the arrest, though, you also were talking to some of the cops there, because, folks, if you don't know, not only was I there, but Cannabis Carrie went, and Jen Alexander, Damon Alexander were there. So we brought a whole Oregon contingent, and you got to talk to some of the cops. What was their remarks to you?
Well, Jen Alexander went around and talked to many cops, but as we were leaving the festival, there was a group of about 5 or 6 policemen just sort of standing around chatting with each other, and I asked them if, did you get anybody? They said, we got one, a younger person that was smoking marijuana. Somebody had called and said they'd saw someone selling marijuana. They went down to the river and gave them a ticket for possession. He did tell me that person had claimed it was medical marijuana, which doesn't exist in Idaho. Yeah. They did tell me they handed out 5 open container tickets, and that they didn't really have any problems at all. So it was a good event.
Yeah, it was a very good event. Now, I want to let everyone know that we're going to continue this discussion in hour 2 in our Toker Talk Radio. So if you're listening live and you have any questions for the people here talking to you, between Teresa Knox, Isaiah Valdez, Lindsay Reinhart, and Sarah Frank, you can give us a call at 971-533-7111, 971-533-7111. And we'll finish up this hour with Teresa Knox. I just wanted to bring up this medical marijuana idea that is being brought forth here in the state of Idaho. Of course, you're kind of surrounded in Idaho by medical marijuana states: Washington, Oregon, Nevada, Colorado, Montana. Everywhere you go outside of Idaho except Utah or Wyoming, there's a medical marijuana program. What do you think Idahoans think of medical marijuana, and do you like the chances of getting this passed?
Well, as far as what Idahoans think of medical marijuana, I know that there was a clear research study put out by VSU last year that found that 74% of Idahoans favor medical marijuana.
Yeah.
So as far as the citizens of this state, I think they're compassionate, and I think that they understand that this is a viable treatment, and I think most of them even understand it's better than the pharmaceuticals. So the support here is not an issue.
Excellent. Now, Lindsay Reinhart, we also talked a little bit at the event about the notion of what are called Idaho refugees, people that, go to Oregon so that they can, live their lives, pain-free, much like Sarah had to do, much like I had to do with my wife. What makes you want to stay there in Idaho in such a tough climate and fight this out?
Well, I moved to Idaho when I was a small child, and I loved this state. I grew up mostly in the state. I've lived in different places all around southern Idaho and southeast Idaho, and I'm not leaving my state. I don't want to be an Idaho refugee. I would much rather stay here and fight, and that way the people that have had to leave can come back, and the patients that want to stay like I do can stay. I don't think that we should have to move to Oregon or Washington or Nevada or Montana or even Canada to get away and go get medicine and not be criminals. I think that we should be able to stay in our state that we love, that's gorgeous and beautiful and has awesome people. I don't see why we should have to leave. I think that we should stay and fight. And for all the people that have had to move away, we want them to come back. This is where they live. This is their home. And that's why we stay and fight. And that's why I fight so hard, because I love Idaho. I don't want to move.
Thank you, Lindsay. With people like you fighting for this, I'm sure we'll be able to come back home soon. Folks, check out the websites idahonormal.org, momsformarijuana.org, and compassionateidaho.org. We got to go. I'm Radical Russ. Until next time, take care of each other, tokers.
This is Normal Show Live, the voice of the Marijuana Nation.
Take it out one more time. you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant